Yo, what's going on? Today I'm gonna show you guys how I made the track Habits.
I like the way you was. It used to feel like magic, but our love turned to static, like drugs turning to habits. Used to feel like magic, but our love turned to static, like drugs turning to habits.
So like most of my tracks, this started with an acapella that Ali sent me. This is what the acapella sounded like.
Used to feel like magic, but our love turned to static, like drugs turning to habits.
So it was something super airy and open and dark, and I knew I wanted to bring in a poppy kind of R&B soul inspired beat. So I laid down some chords. I used Elite Pianist, a pretty cheap plugin from Angelic Vibes. I recommend you guys check it out. And I laid down these chords. Very simple chord progression, but it had a really nice pop sound to it. So then I layered that with another chord sound from Omnisphere. And I only had this hit on every other chord. This kind of built like an energy and a bounce to the chord and the melody. And then I came in with another Omnisphere sound. It's like a bell, kind of poppy as well. And I had it hit on every other chord, just offset from the original. So that also helped build a bounce. So once you layered the chords together, this is what they sounded like. As you can hear, they kind of bounce because different instruments hit on different chords. And then I came with the closed grand piano. It's a stock FL Studio piano, and I just copied the chords into there. You can find it in packs, instruments, keyboards, closed grand, and it sounds really professional, especially if you throw the right effects on it. And it's just layered with the chord progression. Just kind of fills it up, adds a more organic sound to the track. So once I did that, I knew the chords sounded good, but I knew it was going to need an additional element. So I went looking through Arcade. Usually I'll build a chord progression and then go to Arcade to try to find a top melody or vocal chops or whatever. And I found this really cool airy sound. This is what it sounds like. So it was just a sound that was super dark and sinister. This is from Distant Voices, Haunting Petals. And I love Distant Voices. It's got so many great sounds that make your tracks just sound a lot more airy and melodic. So once I had that, I knew I had a really good like overall chord and bass of the melody. I just wanted to throw a vocal chop in there because I love using vocal chops. This one's from Arcade, and it is in the Melodic Croon pack in Hooked. Those give you a lot of pop sounds, and I put it through a lot of filtering and reverb. This is what it sounds like. Just simple hits on the 4th bar. And then I knew I wanted to bring in one more main instrument for the hook. So I went back into Arcade, and I went into the Chopped pack, and I got on the Chick Horns preset, and I just found a saxophone, and I was just messing around on my keyboard, and I came up with this melody, and it sounded really cool. So that really just brought like a soul to the track, and once I had this melody, I knew it was going to work really well. And layering that with the vocals, this is what the melody sounds like.
Used to feel like magic, but our love turned to static, like drugs turning to habits.
So then for the hook, I wanted a synth bass. I love using synth basses on these types of tracks. It's from Citrus, a really good synth bass from Citrus, a stock free VST that comes with FL Studio. It's in presets, bass, synth 6. I love this bass. I use it in a lot of tracks actually. This is what it sounds like. It just follows the bass notes of the chords and slides from note to note. Nothing special. And then I just threw some effects on it. Sound goodizer, I know a lot of people hate on it, but it's just it's a good compression to get something sounding good. I mean, as the name says, mess with some distortion as well. So yeah, that's how I built the melody of the track. So then moving on to the drums, I knew I just had to complement the melody. I didn't want to take away from the vocalist or take away from the melody I wrote. So I started with an organic sounding hi-hat. Just mess with the velocities to give it more of a bounce. And then got a snare, 2 snares layered. Very simple. Then I came in with another somewhat organic sounding hi-hat, very subtle in the background. Just to add more bounce. So then I came in with another hi-hat. This one's also just there to fill up more space. This one's more of a high-end, like, process sound. And then I just threw down a regular sounding hi-hat. And I added a lot of notes below it. This gives it some balance and groove. This is what that pattern sounds like. So it's just really bouncy, but also simple. Mess with the velocities to give it more bounce. That's something you should really try to be doing, just to give your drums more of a like ear candy to them, so they're not so like straightforward and simple. And for tracks like these, I love using a lot of hi-hats because it kind of just fills up the drums without it sounding too like there's too many sounds going on, because hi-hats kind of blend together and they work well with each other. And then I came in with a very simple open hat, just hitting on every 2 bars. And then also just a very simple kick pattern. My ideology with kicks is less is more. That way, once the kick hits, it really has an impact. Sometimes people go crazy with their kicks. I think that's it takes away from a track. This is my kick pattern. And then altogether, this is what the drums sound like. Nothing crazy. They just kind of have a nice groove to them, and they kind of match the soul element of the melody. So overall, this is what the whole beat sounds like. So the one thing I did change up on the verse was I added an 808 just to kind of break it up. I like to switch my basses throughout the track. And also during the verse, I took out a lot of the melodic elements just to let the track breathe. You really want to be letting your tracks breathe. A lot of times people will just keep a track going for the whole time, like have the 808 and all the melodies playing at the same time. You really need to let your track breathe. That builds energy so your listener doesn't get bored. This is the 808 pattern, pretty simple, but bouncy as well. And then I did a reverse 808 on the 4th bar, and I thought it kind of built like an energy, like brought you back in. So to do that, you want to make a note to the length of the slide, and then you're going to hit Alt-U and turn the time MUL or whatever all the way down, and that'll chop it. And once it's chopped like that, you're just going to hit Alt-O, and you'll mess with the end value and the range, and that'll give you your slide. It'll mess with your velocity. So overall, once we had that, all we needed was someone to hop on the verse, and we thought Leo would sound perfect on it because he's got a really good voice and he fits these type of beats really well. And I love how he just rides the beat very nicely. He matches the 808 perfectly, I think. This is what he sounds like on it.
Girl, we got these habits, you know I can't stand it. Just because your last one did you wrong don't mean that I did. You deserve better than that, don't get caught in the past and focus on things that are last.
And then one final thing for this track is we did an orchestraic type outro. We wanted to end it on a somber note because Ali came in with some really somber vocals. This is what his outro sounded like.
Serotonin, I think I'm running low. Need someone to keep me floating. This time don't let me go. Yeah.
So it's like a really hypnotizing kind of outro. So I knew I wanted to match that with my melody. So I used the same chords, and I kept that eerie pad sound, but I layered it with some strings, like an orchestraic sound from Omnisphere. The Dark Old Strings Orchestra preset. This is what that sounds like. So really nice, kept the airy sound in there, kept a piano. So then I also went back into Arcade to look for another saxophone to kind of end the outro. And I got a saxophone from the Pack and Sax pack and shop. I also layered it with another pad from Omnisphere, something really subtle in the background. And then a bass from Euphoria VST from Angelic Vibes, which is a synth bass. And this is what the outro melody sounds like. Super somber, and then once you throw it on with the vocals, it's just really nice sounding.
Serotonin, I think I'm running low. Need someone to keep me floating. This time don't let me go. Yeah. Serotonin, I think I'm running low. Need someone to keep me floating. This time don't let me go.
Yeah, that's how we made the track Habits. Really simple. Hopefully you picked up some tips from this video, and I'll catch you guys next time.